Been in the mining business now for 39 years. And one of the things that I found after working for Newmont Mining Company as a Senior VP of Worldwide Exploration is that technology can renew our exploration space by making what used to be marginally economic ore bodies economic, thus allowing us to look for more of those where we've been looking for other things. In fact, the mining business has had a rich history over a very long time of innovation, but it's generally slow, and they prefer to be fast followers in general, or have to have dire situations where they have no other choice but to try a new technology before they'll do it. My sense is that there's good business reasons for that around the cost of capital and the payback time and things that relate to the fundamental risk basis of our business. But more importantly, what I've discovered is it's usually the wrong mindset. It's usually the wrong way of thinking about the problem, which is the biggest reason that I think technology uptake is so slow in the mining business. Yeah, there have been some major breakthroughs in the neuroscience area, particularly around what's commonly called neuroplasticity or brain plasticity. And what's interesting is the combination of having a non-negotiable goal and having enough fear around not achieving that goal that you're compelled to do things that you wouldn't have otherwise have done. And the difference between what you would have done versus what you end up doing is just a change in how your brain thinks about things. There are things that can be done using the principles of neuroplasticity to accelerate how people change their minds, and it can be done almost overnight. And what we do in these business emulations is we set up a situation that is very similar to what it might be like in the real world, although it's done more or less on a game basis. And the non-negotiable goal is given to a business team to achieve a certain, call it a stretch goal, that they could not achieve by doing business as usual. Then they have to do this, say, 6 or 8 times in a day. So you might model a year's worth of performance in your business in an hour. That gives you very, very fast turnaround in terms of what you can do. And you get to practice that 6 or 8 times in a particular day. Well, when you're faced with a non-negotiable goal and the only way your brain knows how to do it is how it's always done it, the first day you do this, you fail miserably. You can't do it. You just can't do it. You can get close sometimes, and you might think you're getting creative, but in the end of the day you fail to achieve that non-negotiable stretch goal. And what happens is the brain essentially rewires itself overnight. So the myelinitic sheaths that are along the axons and around the dendrites in the brain actually dissolves, and it allows your brain to rewire itself. And the next day, everyone who participates in this event knows how to solve the problem. It's remarkable, but that's based on the principles of neuroplasticity and what the brain is actually able to do. And the key thing is to trick it to thinking that it's actually at work, and to allow yourself to fail over and over again. And all a business emulation is a way to formally put that into a 2-day event where you can transform your thinking essentially overnight. You know, I've actually had experience doing a business emulation. Several years ago I worked for one of the world's largest mining companies, and we were having challenges achieving our reserve replacement rate through exploration. And our annual goal was to come up with 10 million ounces of reserves additional every year. And we were only able to achieve 4 million ounces a year on average long term. And that was even done with a combination of exploration and discovery and development of existing projects and actually making mergers and acquisitions. The whole thing had to be done to achieve a steady state 4 million ounces. So we decided that we needed a new way of thinking about it, and we set up one of these business emulations where we were given the non-negotiable goal of coming up with 10 million ounces of reserves every year from only early stage exploration. So we weren't allowed to do any mergers or acquisitions or develop existing projects. We had to start off from scratch. The first day we failed miserably. We absolutely failed miserably. We ended up achieving an average of 4 million ounces a year, which is what we've been doing all along. And it took us, each year of our business was an hour, and so it took us 3 hours to drill our first exploration drill hole. And it took us 5 hours to be able to report our first reserve, and we failed miserably. The next day we woke up, and all of us had the answer, and we organized ourselves differently. And by the time 3 hours of the simulation was up, or the emulation was up, we'd already booked double the ounces we needed to in half the amount of time, and we drilled our first drill hole in the first 15 minutes instead of the first 3 hours. It was transformative. It was transformative to us. The key was I took the best people on the team and I put them on the most advantageous end of the business, which is looking for new technology to transform the operations, and it worked like a charm. In a business where the cycle times are so long, to be able to explore for, discover, develop, permit, finance, build a mine, and put it in construction, that there's no time to really learn through failure before it's a disaster. But I don't know anyone in the mining business who practices our business to get it right. Yet if you look at the oil business, when they put in these billion-dollar projects, they actually do some gaming. The oil business does this. They practice how to construct that refinery or construct that port before they go out and build it. There's no reason why we can't steal that approach with pride and adapt it to the mining business.